Greetings over the diaspora to those that don't speak the languages that we speak. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. To those who are new to our space, please let us start by subscribing if this is content that resonates with you. If you're browsing around, that is solely okay, but please give us a like, comment on the comment section, give us a share or something, but you're totally welcome as well. And to the regular spiritual G's, thank you so much for coming back and spending your time here again. Welcome, Stoners United, the Wake and Bake Gang, the Queer and Conscious, Knowledge Seekers, Knowledge Collectors, Black Consciousness Gang, Woke Gang, Anti-Woke Gang, Chakra Hands, Terracotta Gang, Togoza Gogo Gang, Makosi Gang, Parapedi Gang, Skupu Gang, Pimpe Gang. As long as you're all here in love and light, this is our knowledge sharing session that we do on Tuesdays. On Tuesdays, we speak on spirituality and more desirably so on the African calendar. But today's our last episode on the current season that we're in. We are closing off our Het-Heru season, or what the plagiarizers would call Het-Heru. To close off the season, so I thought that we would speak on one of the elements that align us or help us better understand what this energy principle is all about. So we're going to be speaking about Het-Heru being the celestial cow. So we know we've called her different names. You know, we mentioned the Heru, which was a plagiarized version of Het-Heru, where Het-Heru means the house of Heru, as we spoke about in our intro episode. We call her Nobuhle, Mabotle, we call her Nkomokazi Zulu, we call her the celestial cow, like I said in today's session. We call him Mvikelikazi, we call him Mmamonontsha, the one who expands, and everything else like that. So today we're going to be speaking on what Het-Heru is in terms of the cow, why the cow is so sacred when we're speaking to Het-Heru. So we mentioned a little bit in the episodes that we've done so far about the different depictions of Het-Heru. So in other depictions, you would see her as this lady who's carrying a crown like this, right? Okay, this thing broke. Those who were here with me last year, you know there was a glass here, right? And I thought I'd make a dope accessory, but that broke before we could actually do something about it, but I'm still keeping it, right? So in other depictions, she'd be a goddess with cow horns and the sun disk in her head. And then you need to notice, I will share a picture. Yeah, I'll share a picture here. So with a Het-Heru's representation, right, the horns need to go concave. Okay, I can't fit on the screen here. Concave like this, right? And not outside like this. And even though we get different artists and different expressions, they are. But what this denotes to as well, before we get into the representation or symbolism of a cow in spirituality. So with these, I just touched on it a little bit, right? So in earlier texts, Het-Heru would be referred to just as a solar deity, but then we've come to discover that no, actually she also embodies the lunar principles that these deities would also carry. And with this is representing the lunar as well as the solar principles then as a Het-Heru. And in Het-Heru, we know in other texts they refer to her as the daughter of Ra, right? And then in her form as Usechmet Bast. Yeah, so I'm in this view so that I keep my hands out the visual, because apparently I talk with my hands too. But anyway, yes, in other, I did mention that she'd be referred to as Soletus. Yeah, so they'd call her the daughter of Ra, and then we know that in her other states she would now be represented by Usechmet Bas, right? The fierce feline goddess, the one who now goes on attack because people are breaking the rules and the way and moral code of Ra, right? She is the daughter of Ra. The consort Yahacha is Heru, right? Younger Ra, yeah. Ra, when Ra who comes to avenge now the death, I can say death, the death of Ora. That's the consort to Het-Heru, and also in the name itself that the house of Heru, so houses Heru. And we spoke that with the system as well, this would be the whole zodiac system based on these principles, then that's a Het-Heru. So in that, calling her Bonobuhle, Mabotle, and all of that, we know who this is the goddess of beauty as well. You know, when speaking of beauty, now we refer to goddess Het-Heru, Smatata, Senasaron, right? But now let's go back a little bit into cow. What do cows represent? So you would see also in Eastern practices, right? I like using this term that I heard from one of my favorite guys. Ooh, I haven't forgot his name. Yeah, I haven't seen his clips in a very long time. But I think the platform is called Kasi My Kasi. But it's a term like ngikhule ngiphilisa ulwimi lesiZulu. That's what he said, right? So I want to bring it back here, where now I want to refer to Eastern practices, right? So the Eastern practice, baphilisa, yeah. So they give life, or they give reverence to the cow. So we know, if you're familiar with other Eastern religion, one of the most common ones, the Hindu religion, we know that they do not consume cows. You'd also go, if you're privileged enough to be close to a historically Indian segregated places, right? So in Johannesburg we have Mmamonontsha, which is where I was born. Okay, the hospital though, not the actual place. Lenasia. We also have in Pretoria, we have Bolodia. So you'd see, like, if you enjoy Indian food there, you see usually they never serve cow. It's usually like lamb or chicken, le matin ke little go konyana. Yeah. So they serve that because they revere this cow as this divine being, a being that connects us back to the cosmos, as much as it's earthly, but there's that divine connection that it forms. Now, when we're taking it to us here, down here in the south, or in Africa, in the southern Africa, we'd see also practices like boma magadi, kapalobola, or dowry payment being given in terms of cows, right? So we know that in ancient times, we used to barter our stuff versus the money aspect, right? But we know now today that habare terms like inkomo, right, would refer to the monetary element to it. So so with that, this is my trying to understand this principle. Oh, okay. So is that why also Het-Heru would be represented by the divine cow, right? Because this is what we exchange, and we know that in the time of Het-Heru, this is a time, unions, mahadi, and everything, and we know that the cow in the ceremony in Alobo, like one of the first elements that brings these two families together, right? If there's two families getting married, these two families together, they would be in means of, the first step would be means of a cow. So even though now today we use it in terms of money or lehaushaula, I know I'm just familiar with just one little aspect. I'm not sure how factual this is, but in like haushaulangwana, right? A child wa malome, a child who's not born in wedlock, a child wa malome. There'd also be that ceremony where I know with what I know now, it would need to be, they would coach you also in terms of a cow, but it needs to be like an odd number, yes, an odd number. So batlare dikgomo tse kana le mokapi or something, right? So sometimes it would be a sheep or a goat or any, but sometimes there's that extra cow that is mentioned, right? And also when we're speaking of in terms of marriage and all of that, but I'll get an expert to actually take us down this one. So again, I want to bring it back home here, but I just want to speak on the cow itself. So the cow also, we spoke already, the representation here, the cow would represent fertility, would represent also the divine feminine, like I said, would also represent the Milky Way because of this nourishment that we're receiving from the cow. So we know that the cow, it produces milk, but this would also be descriptive of the nude sky where now houses this Milky Way that we have, and with that we get nourishment for that, right? And then there's also another school of thought that says we are people from the stars, right? And there's terms like boma stardust, not stardust, what do we call them? Star seeds, but there is a term here, stardust as well, right? So with star seeds and all of that, which denotes again this cosmic connection that we have, and then now again the Milky Way being associated, this cow being itself, but in totality, this is this divine feminine that represents the nourishment, the fertility, the expansion of things. And I said that in the season, I hope that you guys did do did work with this energy principle, did work with this deity. We said that everything that is completely possible, anything that you want at the season in, work on it, work on manifesting it, it, work on putting it to life. We pay impilo, this thing that you say that you're working on, because this energy in Het-Heru presents us with that opportunity. And then now back home again, I'm gonna use it in the Nguni language of isiZulu, right? All right, so there's also the female reproductive area, right, including the womb and the two and the fallopian tubes thing, as well as the two, yeah, I can't use my hands today, but the two eggs on the side, right? Yeah. So when you see the shape, right, so when you see the shape, it's also shaped like the cow, right? The cow face on top here, the top part, yeah, the cow head, right? So that is why, or maybe that is why, it is also referred to in the Zulu language as inkomo. And we know that when you're speaking of sensuality, which is also a principle of Het-Heru, and speaking of sexuality and all of that, we get terms where about the female part, right? This is like another heaven, which speaks again to the celestial car, right? Yeah, so so yeah, words are not just words, we said that yeah, as much as all words are made up, but there is, especially with us as a people, we never just use words, we never just name things for just enjoy, so this is the heavenly region. This is the region that produces life. This is a region that needs to be held sacredly. So, and I'll speak more about this on a podcast I'm going to be featured on. I think it's called Sisterhood, on Thursday. So please do join me on that. And yeah, we're going to be speaking about sacredness of sex, and yeah, all of that. So I think I'll dive more a bit on that. But yeah, so now I'm going to share the picture. I'm going to share the picture, yeah, in Komo, yeah, Sizulu, Linkomo, why it would be termed that. But I think we have covered everything. We have covered everything in terms of Het-Heru wa rona. If I didn't, Sasa Konangiti next year, yeah, if la unsubscribe, then you might miss it. But yeah, so do catch up on other episodes. Het-Heru has its own section in the Het-Heru playlist. Also in the African calendar, we also have Het-Heru. We also have the episodes the previous year that we've done so far. So yeah, so I hope you've been working with this energy. Like I said, that even the color thing, this turquoise color, it's not showing very nicely here. This turquoise color as well as another color. I said that when you're speaking of blues and everything, it has to do with a cosmic connection. It has to do with the heavens. It has to do with telepathy and things that like spiritual eyes, spiritual understanding, and another the color in again. So turquoise, we said it's a blue green, and then green we said that it's another color, yeah, vitality. And as we see our green god Mvuselele, right, the season that we came from before go Het-Heru wa rona. But I just want to touch on copper as well before we close. I hope that's all right with everybody. Yeah, I'll be very short. This episode will probably be less than 30 minutes. So those who are able to get the cosmic pack, that you had your copper bracelet included in the pack itself, right? So these are one of the elements that are aligned as leather season in your Het-Heru. Now copper as an element, right? So it's one of these elements that are very important when you're speaking of DNA, when you're speaking about vitality as well. When you are so fatigued and a lack of sleep, you're imbalanced, you're ungrounded and everything, copper assists you in that process. What copper also helps with as well, right? Copper also helps with the production of collagen. So this elasticity that we have in our skin, copper assists in aiding that, because we know there's a lot of things that deteriorate our states, that deteriorate even the elasticity of our skin, hence a lot of us, because the sun is friendly to us, or not the brown and the black people, the melanated people. So the sun is a bit friendlier to us because it recognizes us, right? Yeah, it recognizes us. But what we get is, I wanted to make the point out, we get terms like black don't crack because of this natural element that we already have within ourselves, right? Speaking to this color in right? So I like touching on this one whenever we're speaking about green, and how originally actually we were green, and the green god asa onarona, and this melanin compound, right? So different school of thoughts and different scholars say that we became brown, right? But yeah, I'm also seeing what the other school of thought says. There's copper because of this rust that we now have, hence now Cerele brown versus the original green color. But you'd see it with small babies. I like mentioning this one as well. With small babies on their back here, they still have the remnants of this melanin in, right? And this is the same melanin, or the same expression, melanin, that we see in plants. But this is a copper production, in the DNA. This chlorophyll in plants, which is the chlorophyll, original color before the rusting. And what causes the rust? The rust was caused by the corruption, to our diet and environment and everything. So yeah, maybe we'd be walking around as green people, and we know Sesotho kapa Sezulu ba re o montsho mo tala, right? Tala is green, or o montsho or Mmamonontsha, which is green again, right? And we saw that movie Avatar, where the people are represented by this blue color, this blue color, which is also another maybe depiction of that we are from the skies. But we know there's also habar, like a very dark, bare there's the darkness a bit blue, so it goes on the blue shades, like it's all black, it goes in the blue shades, those nicely melanated people, but it's still intrinsically, it's still this chlorophyll that we would see. So we know of terms like boma iron deficiency and all of that, right? But there's a term called copper deficiency. What copper does, copper comes and helps us in the DNA to be able to absorb this iron that we are deficient from. So that is the role copper in our body, and like I said, it produces the red blood cells. These are the blood cells that also prevent, if there's a shortage of them, you're also fatigued, got these brittle bones, your skin is not elastic anymore, you have memory problems, you have the memory problems, learning difficulties. So some people it's so dire that they can't even walk. And then we'd see besides those black wristings that they'd wear a lot of these copper bracelets, so also in terms of what's that bone disease? That bone disease. Copper helps in the production of these blood cells, in the production of the collagen, in the production of this health element, or balancing this DNA in iron. And also copper is also a lovely conductor. We see other people that don't use the silver that usually used in copper, right? But yeah, that is quite rare to see. What we'd usually see are those staffs that are made from silver itself, and not necessarily then as a copper. But copper is a brilliant item to ground yourself as well, when you're when you're unhealthy. I think rather start with this. We'd see also in these big chains, these pharmaceutical chains, that green store Erikisan dilo tsa rona as well. I would also see with that blue store where you must take your girlfriends for dates, right? Running joke on the socials. But yeah, those stores, they also, you see they store the copper bracelets, and we know once the West steals it, then you know that there's something bigger behind it. But that is all I have for Het-Heru. I hope the season has been super amazing for you guys. I will see you in the next season, that we're going into another season that is very, very, very vital. Another season I think I'm excited about, the season Jehuti, right? Kapa Tehuti, Kapa Tuto. I will see you probably, those on the membership, you'll see me earlier. And those on the not on the membership, on the 23rd, we should have your episode. And yeah, the ebooks and the cosmic pack should be out as well by then. But happy today, Mmamonontsha. I hope we are able to also exchange a couple of things. And yes, and then the comments on the other episodes, and especially with the guests that we have here, we will feed them to the guests so that they answer their own questions. But I think we had covered a lot of things on the episodes. I think more questions came from the One Year Black God. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for liking, for sharing, and growing this family. Mmamonontsha, happy today, and we out. African peace, a unity.
Here we go like that.